take initiative. Take initiative. Go for it. Expand your comfort zone. Go for it. It's not, I know I'm saying it like it's easy. I'm saying it like it's fun. It's not always fun. People say, well, it's not fun. Don't do it. Well, listen, sometimes it ain't fun in the beginning because you're learning, you're making mistakes. And that's not always fun, making the mistakes, getting the rejection, being ridiculed, right? People opposing what you're doing. That's not always fun. I get that. But if you want what most people don't have, you're going to have to do what most people don't do. Wealth is a minority. Right? Being in at the optimum place that you want to be is not typical for the average person. The average person is like, I'm not even close to where I know I need to be. And I'm not just talking about finances. I'm talking in every area of life. Why? Because they're waiting for it to happen. I'm waiting to be in the best shape. I'm waiting to be financially secure. I'm waiting to be in the best relationship. You're going to have to go make that thing happen.
If you're a go-getter, faith-driven, and family-focused, and need to break through to your next level, this is the podcast for you. Your self-talk can reshape every area of your life. It's time to dream and think big. Welcome to the Self-Talk Experience with Darnell and Tracy Self. It's time to elevate, baby. Let's get into the show.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Darnell Self here, host, or I should say co-host, even though I'm by myself today, of the Self-Talk Experience podcast. I know you're missing my co-host, Tracy Self. Today, you just get me. And we're going to talk about what's best for you. Like, what's best for you? This is called the self-talk. So, of course, it's the things we say to ourselves about ourselves that really determines what we attract for ourselves. It sounds selfish because it's like what I'm saying to me, what I want for me, but it's really selfless because you're putting your oxygen mask on first so that you can save others, so that you can be there for others, so that you can provide and share more, be more for others. And so let's talk a little bit about how to start with you, how to lead yourself first, because it is hard to get other people to come along for the ride when you're not leading yourself. So when we think about leading yourself, we're talking about leading your life based on your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations. Why is this important? Because they're yours. It's not like, well, yeah, based on what they think I should do. Like, you're going to make the decision that, you know what? These are my values. These are my goals. And this is the life I want to live or lead. So, for an example, my value system may be different from someone else's value system in terms of prioritization. My goals, the same thing. So at the top of my value system list is legacy, meaning leaving my kids and grandkids better off than where I was. So let's just say, just for easy numbers, the goal was, hey, they're going to have in their trust, in the trust fund, $1 million each. They can start their businesses. They can, provide for underserved communities. So let's just say that was the top of my list. And number 2 was family time. Check this out. Someone who has family time as number 1 won't agree with the decisions I make if legacy is number 1. Because if legacy is number 1 for me, that means I'm willing to give up some family time for the legacy. If family time is number 1 for them, they would never give up family time for the legacy. They're like, how could you miss out on their first day of 3rd grade? How could you miss out on their soccer game? How could you? And for me, I'm like, hey, I'm building a legacy so that they don't have to miss out on their kids' soccer game, so that they don't have to make the same decisions and choices that I had to make, because at some point, somewhere along your legacy, your genealogy, somebody, if you live with, you have a wealthy family, somebody gave it up. Somebody made the decision that legacy is more important, and they gave up some things that the average person would never give up. They gave up some family reunions. They gave up some movie time. They gave up some birthday parties. My point is, they had legacy at the top of their value system list. Somebody else has family time. And again, family time, that person won't make the same decisions. This is why this is important, because this is for you. You can't lead your life based on the expectations that others have of you and still get to your goals. You'll end up at their goals because you're making their decisions. You see, you're making decisions based on what they say. That's why this was critical for me to get this and gain this, because then I made decisions based on what my list was. You have to make your own list. If your goal is $1 million a year, which is $83,333.33 a month, because you got to know your goal to hit it, then you're going to make different decisions than someone whose goal is to make an extra $5,000 in their entrepreneurial venture. You can't expect that person's going to make the same decisions. They won't even agree with the decisions you make. They're like, well, why you have to do all of that? Why does it take all of that? It doesn't for $5,000 a year, but it does take all of that for $83,333 a month. You see? So we're talking about leading yourself. So first of all, don't expect that everybody else is going to see what you see, do what you do, make the decisions that you make if your goals aren't aligned and if your value systems aren't aligned. It's just never going to be that way. You have to be okay with that. Number 2, I shouldn't even number them because I have no idea where I'm going to go with this. So the next thing, is set clear goals. So the reason why we set clear goals, because clear goals allow you to assess and see where you are. You know, I often ask folks things like, so where are you right now? Like what's happening? Talk to me about your goals and where you are. Well, I'm just, trying to get it in, trying to get it done, doing some big things, getting that bag. So are you on track? Like, what does that mean? I get it, but what does that mean? Like, are we on track? Do we have to pick up the pace? Do we have to make some adjustments? If there's not clear goals, we don't even know if we're on pace. Like, where are we? You know what I mean? It's like, man, I'm 15 days behind what I'd set for my goal. And you said you were going to launch this on Black Friday. You said you're going to write. So if you don't have a goal set up, we don't know where we are heading into that holiday that you're going to launch your apparel line, heading into, right? So you got to have a clear goal, and clear goal always has a timeline attached to it. Otherwise, we're just hoping and we're wishing. And I've never met anyone who's become massively successful without intentionality, right? Without knowing, like, this is like this week, I'm going to knock this out. I'm going to get the LLC set up. Next week, I'm going to do this, right? So that way, you're on track. Man, I'm 2 weeks behind because I said it was going to be this far in my book. I said it was going to be this far in my whatever it is that you plan to do, but there was no goal set up with timelines, with benchmarks. So make sure you do that for yourself. That way you can see whether you're on track or not. The next one, prioritize your calendar. Prioritize your calendar. Here's how critical this one is. We're talking about self-talk, right? How to get yourself out front so that you're leading you. You're not waiting on someone else to lead you. You're leading you first. And yes, I want you to have mentors. And yes, I want you to take classes and courses and seminars that help you along, especially from folks who already done what it is you're willing to do. But it's also important that you're leading yourself. Otherwise, you buy the course, but you don't watch it. Otherwise, you attend, but you don't pay attention or go back and look at the notes. You see, that's why leading you is important. So prioritize your calendar. Without prioritizing your calendar, things that are not priority would take over your calendar because you'll say yes to it all. Oh, yeah, I can do that. Oh, yeah, I'll meet you here. Yeah, I'll do that. And all of a sudden, the things that don't align with the goals we talked about earlier are all in your calendar. And guess who's moving further away from their goals? You are. I am. If I haven't prioritized my calendar with the things that match, that align with the goals I said I wanted earlier in this podcast episode. Listen, guys, I hope you get this one because you can say an easy no when you prioritize your calendar. You always have a hard time to say no when you haven't prioritized your calendar. It's like, yeah, I think I can probably do that. Why? Because you haven't prioritized your calendar. But the thing you said you were going to do no matter what, like, I'm going to be in this shape. I'm going for a bodybuilder contest. I'm going for $1 million a year. I'm going for whatever it is. I'm going to be the best parent ever. I'm going to make it to every game. Well, then every game should already be in your calendar. So when someone calls you and say, yeah, I can do that. All of a sudden you're like, oh, shoot, I said yes, but the game is at the same time. What do I do here? Then it's hard to give a hard no because it's like, I know I said yes, but. So put it in your calendar. That way you can say, nope, can't do it then. Can't do it at 3. I can do it at 6 because the priority was at 3. You already put it in there because that's what you need to do. You had to set up that LLC. You had to, right? So that's already in there. You're not going to say maybe now. Oh, let me see if I can move it around. No, because you said this was most important to you. Don't get me wrong. Things will come up. We have to make the adjustment. These are real life things that happen, right? You got to call family members at the hospital. You're going to adjust that calendar, right? That's okay. So you're not beating up on yourself. This is self-talk. But at least you're intentional about prioritizing your calendar. This is critical for those who really want to go to the next level in life. Your calendar says to me what your priorities are, right? If you got the gym in there every day or 6 days a week, it says fitness is important to you, right? So if you have family in there, my grandkids in my calendar. So like if Cross, one of my grandsons, is coming over, and I already said, hey, I'm going to take you out in your car, and in his little car. Then I put it in my calendar. So that way, if someone says, hey, can you do a call for me? Can you do a conference call for me at 5? I can say, no, I can't do 5. I can do 6. Why? Crosses in there for 5. Because I set him as a priority. You see how this is? If I told Gohan, hey, man, grandson, that's my other grandson, I'm going to take you here. Like I took him school shopping. So it was already in the calendar. So nothing came up where I said, no, I can't do it. Why? It was in my calendar. I could say, I can do 6, but I can't do 5. You see, you can easily make the adjustment and tell people what is important, but not more important than what you put in your calendar. You guys getting this? So I'm not saying that all the things that go in your calendar are important. You put them in your calendar. So I guess they're important, but you have to prioritize it. So whatever goes in your calendar first is priority. Doesn't mean you're going to be doing more of it, right? So if, let's say, your spiritual life is a priority, then you're putting it in there. Like, hey, I'm going to this particular meeting with this organization because it's going to help me to grow spiritually with my religion or whatever it is that is important to you. So that's in there. It doesn't mean it's there every day. So don't get that confused with what you do most often is priority. That's not necessarily the case. You know, people are like, oh, you're putting your business before God. Because I have more business events in the calendar than church events. That's not true. Church events are in there first, so it's priority. Then, so put what's in your calendar as a priority. So if you have a child that plays sports or that's a part of any organization, you wanted to be there to celebrate them at that particular assembly, at that sporting event, and you want to make sure that you're there, put in your calendar so nothing else goes in front of that, and then put everything else around that. I hope you guys are getting this, okay? If right now you're like, hey, look, I'm going to, no matter what, nothing's going to stop me. And this is kind of the mindset I get in. Nothing's going to stop me from hitting this goal. I'm all in, whatever that goal is. I'm going to do that, right? Just like when it was get 1,000 subscribers to my YouTube channel. So Tracy Self, my co-host, and I sat at the bar in our basement, and we were like, we're making all the calls. And we set the goal, and we text and call all of our contacts and friends and say, hey, would you subscribe to our YouTube channel? That was a goal. It was a priority. Put it in the calendar, and we made it happen. You guys get what I'm saying? You guys got this. You got it. It's important to you, so go knock it out. Put it in your calendar. Go knock it out. Otherwise, I meant to, I was hoping to, I forgot to, I didn't get around to. That's what's going to happen. And then months from now, you're like, why do I look like this? And I thought I was going to set a goal to be in this shape, right? This is what I've done. I'm telling you, learn from my mistakes. I thought I was going to be in this place and earn this kind of money. No, you didn't. You didn't think that. You know what I mean? You were lying to yourself because it wasn't in your calendar. How'd you think you were going to get there? And none of that was in, the activity wasn't in your calendar to get those results. So how are you going to get the results without the activity? You weren't. You were never going to get those results without the activity because the activity was never put in your calendar. All right. Now, look, it's a sidebar. If you have the habit of doing certain things, then sometimes you don't have to calendar because you wake up every day, 6 a.m., you go to the gym, 6:30. That's just your routine. So you don't even have to think about it. Somebody says, hey, you can do this at 6. You're like, I'm sorry, I go to the gym then, but I can do it at 7:30. It's a routine for you. It's a habit, but certain things aren't habits. Or maybe you're like me, my calendar is different every week because I never know where I'm going to be. So I have to calendar it because the workouts aren't the same. What I'm doing is no real routine. So that's why calendaring is important. All right. You're going to have to go and get the opportunity. The opportunity typically isn't coming to you. Every now and then, something happens. You're like, I can't believe the opportunity landed in my lap. But it's typically because you put yourself out there enough with the opportunity landing in your lap, but you still have to put yourself out there first. So next, take initiative. Take initiative. Go for it. Expand your comfort zone. Go for it. It's not, I know I'm saying it like it's easy. I'm saying it like it's fun. It's not always fun. People say, well, it's not fun. Don't do it. Well, listen, sometimes it ain't fun in the beginning because you're learning, you're making mistakes. And that's not always fun, making the mistakes, getting the rejection, being ridiculed, right? People opposing what you're doing. That's not always fun. I get that. But if you want what most people don't have, you're going to have to do what most people don't do. Wealth is a minority. Right? Being in at the optimum place that you want to be is not typical for the average person. The average person is like, I'm not even close to where I know I need to be. And I'm not just talking about finances. I'm talking every area of life. Why? Because they're waiting for it to happen. I'm waiting to be in the best shape. I'm waiting to be financially secure. I'm waiting to be in the best relationship. You're going to have to go make that thing happen. Right? You're going to have to go get the counseling, take the course, go out and talk to the people, right? Post on social media, go live. You're going to have to do the thing that's uncomfortable to you. And you already know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know for the most part. I'm just affirming what you know and trying to encourage you to go out and execute on it. That's the discipline you need, execution. The next one, self-awareness. We're talking about leading yourself. How do you get yourself to a place where you're saying the right things to yourself, where you're leading you? You're like, I'm not going to wait on somebody else to get me to do this. I'm going to go do it. And then when I do it, I will be an example for other people to follow me. That's what I'm talking about right now, because what you're going to do is going to be such a blessing to so many other people, because when you share that, y'all don't even know. I didn't even tell you where I was during that season of my life. If I told you that, you probably been like, praying for me 10 times the amount I'm sure you were praying for me as my friend, if you really knew. But I'm telling you this now, not to brag about where I am, but to share with you how far I've come from because of these things that I was able to do. That's why I love this podcast, because everything I'm sharing with you are things that I had to shift in my own head to get to my next level. And I hope that it becomes an example for you, an inspiration for you. So self-awareness says that, hey, I have strengths and I have weaknesses. And my strengths, I will continue to focus on, and my weaknesses, I'll develop. But I'm focusing on my strengths because that's where my money is. That's where my blessings are. That's my gift. And I'm going to focus on those things and become a master of it, become an expert in it. Many of you do so many things well, and you've not taken it to the next level. But the things we don't do that well, the things I'm like, I'll just develop that, and that's nice. So I speak for a living now, but that wasn't my strength. I developed that, but my strength was seeing the best in other people. I've always been that guy. Like, hey, well, did you consider this? Well, maybe they were going through that. I've always been that guy. I like to say that I like to see the best in other people. I give people multiple chances, which I'm not saying is always right. So, but forgiveness has been a big gift of mine, probably because I don't have a great memory, so I don't remember what people did anyway. This is very true. If you know me personally, you're like, yep. I don't even remember. People are like, you don't remember what they did? I'm like, no. So that's a gift. It's a blessing and a curse, right? Because sometimes you shouldn't be giving people multiple chances, but forgetting is my gift. And we often say, hey, you can forgive, but don't forget. Well, I forgive because I don't remember. And so I just think it's important that we all put ourselves in a place where we have that self-awareness. So focus on your strength, develop your weaknesses. So I focused on my strength, which was seeing the best in other people, and developed something was weak at the time, which is communication. And that allowed me to actually get in front of more people because I saw the best in people, put me in rooms, put me around people, people trusted me, people believed in me. And then I worked on my communication skills as I was getting in front of all those people, because I had to talk to more people now because I was in front of more people. You have to think about what your strengths and weaknesses are. The last thing that I'll share with you about leading yourself is what you're doing right now. Continuous learning, continuous growing. So if you're leading yourself, you're going to put yourself in a position where you can say, how did I grow this week? How am I better this week? You guys listen to the Self-Talk Podcast Experience every Thursday, as well as I'm sure other things that you do that cause you to be better. So remember, if you're leading yourself, there's no real break from growth. You could take vacations, but you're always growing. You're always getting better, so that you can lead yourself better. And when you lead yourself better, you'll find that you can lead other people better as well. There's been another Self-Talk Experience. We pray that you encourage yourself to be a better leader so that you can be better at encouraging the world, because the world needs encouragement. Take care, everyone. See you the next time.
Thank you for listening to the Self-Talk Podcast with Darnell and Tracy Self. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. And we'll see you next time. And remember, talk good to yourself.